Welcome back, everyone. LanceScurv here. On a beautiful late afternoon in the mountains of the eastern region in Ghana. Thank you for all your well wishes for me getting over this cold. My voice is a little hoarse because I just talk too much. But it's not that I talk too much. I think I have a lot to say. And I have to say that many of us as a people, we just don't get it. You know, I've always been pro-unity. The unification of us all over the globe. I have never been against any of my own. And I've never looked at any of my own as though I'm better than them. Because in this world, it's so easy to get caught up in the artificially injected statuses that are put on us to cause division. It's been used in slavery. Now it's used globally. And it's sad. And because of this, I wonder if we really will ever unify globally. We have many organizations and groups and cults that push their agenda, push themselves against others who look like them, not realizing we all have a common enemy. And we can break that down into other categories, because we can say globally, we have a common enemy of those who are the shadow governments and in power and want to dominate and eliminate most of the population, no matter who we are. But through experience growing up in America, and from what I've learned with the counterintelligence program, which is still in effect today, it may not be under that name, but trust and believe, it's still happening. And many of us are so caught up in our emotions, our misinformed selves, and the selves that get part of a message and run with it. You see, Hoover, who was over the counterintelligence program, he would love it today, because they didn't have social media back in those days in the 50s and 60s. They had to get their agents out there and put boots on the ground, right? They had to infiltrate those who look like us and convince them for enough money to turn your back on the very organizations that you pledged to support and be a part of. They're tricky. Because many of us, we fall for the baubles, the trinkets, and the rubies of the former slave masters. But they know us so well. They know us today even better than they ever did. Excuse me while I itch my ear. Always got to keep my ears clear so I can hear what's going on around me. But they know us so well. They've had us in their midst for so long that they've studied us, and we oftentimes think that they don't know us. They know us well. And in the present day, they know us better than ever before. Before, they had to observe us over here, and have those turncoats bring information to them about those of us who wanted to revolt, those of us who are more militant, those of us who had a real plan to free us up. They don't need that anymore, although they do have that much more than they did before, by the millions. Now, all they have to do is use this thing called social media that was given to us. Why was it given to us? It was given to us freely. And we didn't have to, after a while, pay for a phone call. You mean they gave us WhatsApp? And so if we wanted to call another country, we didn't have to use a calling card, but we had to pay. They give us WhatsApp. And it's free. And you can stay on the phone with somebody from another country using your local phone number that you registered. And you can send pictures. You can send text messages. Wow. How nice massa has been. But we didn't realize it. And there were many of us and people that I know personally who said, oh no, I don't trust it. I'm not putting my information out on that at all. There are many who I knew that didn't trust online banking, but they're doing online banking now, and they're doing it through the phone. Well, why am I saying all of this? Because the enemy thinks long term. The enemy knows us. After a while, like that mouse or a bunch of mice that are in a house infested with mice that has a cat there that doesn't do anything, after a while, the mice will come out and say, there's a cat. Well, he didn't do anything when I went out there. And they get brave, and the cat's sitting there. After a while, you'll see a mouse. We have an ambulance going by, if you can hear it. But after a while, you'll see the mouse sitting on top of the cat's head because they know the cat's not going to do anything. So we have been lulled into a false sense of security by what was given to us for a purpose, but a long-term purpose. Don't you think we're being surveilled, not just through WhatsApp, but through Facebook, but through X, but through Instagram, the things that we say to each other in private, those naughty little pictures that we share with each other, we think nobody sees it? You're sending this thing out into the world. You can delete things off of your phone, but there are records of everything that you sent and receives. He knows when you are sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows when you've been bad or good, so be good for goodness sake. They're watching. They also know that their population and their birth rates are going down. Oh no. How are they going to remain in control if their population worldwide is only 9%? But wouldn't you want your people to survive into the future? Well, there's nothing wrong with wanting to survive in the future. But if you start getting diabolical now and thinking about getting rid of others to make room for you and putting out a false narrative that there's no more room on the earth, we won't have any more food, we won't have resources anymore, and some people believe this. I'm kind of pulling a lens out for a while. Going back to us as melanated people, may I say the word Africa? Because it seems like when I say the word Africa, where this is Africa behind me and this is where this house is on, where I live. Do I have to apologize for that? I'm sorry to insult you if you're insulted. Africa has the youngest population on the entire planet. The great majority of the people here, I forgot what percentage, but it's under 35 years old. That's some heck of a future when you have so many people here. So many people that look like me. So many people that are part of my bloodline. Through my father, back to Ghana. I'm a born American. But I'm happy to see that on a global level, we will be thriving, especially in a place that has the most resources on the entire planet. If you took this continent, which is much bigger than what it looks like on the map because they purposely shrunk it on the map, and you removed it off of the earth, guess what? The world would starve. Africa is the food basket of the planet. But they don't want you to know that. They want you to think that they're hungry babies with no food and flies flying around. And yes, there are places here that have poverty. But they exploit that in the media to make others feel that there's nothing here. They never taught you anything about how great you are, because in many of our minds, our existence began its slavery. And yes, the culture, the history was broken, but it's being recovered. And there was a time with melanated people, right? No matter what you call yourself, no matter what your nationality is, no matter where you find yourself on this planet, no matter what your culture is, no matter what your language is, you're melanated if you're melanated. So you're related to me, brother or sister. No matter what little recent group you carved out to call yourself. There was a time when melanated people were the only people on this planet. Do you think they just stayed in Africa? All over the whole planet. So for us to fight and say that you're from over there and I don't have nothing to do with you over there because I'm over here. How small-minded. Can I ask you a question? If, and I've asked this before, let's just speak in terms of America. I was born and raised in New York City. I'm a bona fide, dyed-in-the-wool American who has Ghanaian lineage and who also, I'm proud to say, has Ghanaian citizenship. But if me being born and raised in New York, and say I had a big family of lots of brothers and sisters, and one moved to California, and one moved to Texas, and one moved to Florida, and one moved to Detroit, and one moved to Chicago, and one moved to Maine, the whitest state in America. Am I not related to them at all now because they moved somewhere else? That's strange. You moved to a different state, so we're not related no more. We're not connected no more. That's kind of narrow-minded. So you mean I can't come back to the family reunion because I moved to a different state? You're not my brother and sister anymore because I moved to a different state. My parents are not my parents anymore because I live in a different state. But as melanated people who have been here for millions of years, before there was an American flag, we were on the planet Earth, all over the earth, in the place that they call the United States, in the place that they call Japan, in the place that they call South America, in the place that they call China. We're all over the planet. So how are we gonna fall victim to the plans of the enemy who wants us to do his job now of separating ourselves from each other and infighting with each other while he sits back and says, hey, they're doing the job for us. They're killing each other off for us. They're looking at each other as though they're not a bigger family. Because for me personally, I'm made in a very unique way. What you mean? Born and raised in New York City? 63 years old now. I lived 38 plus years in New York City hard. That's my essence. That's my core. That's also my home. America is also my home. Ghana is also my home. If I wanted to move to Singapore, that's also my home. I'll visit there one day because I'm a citizen of the planet Earth. See, we've been so indoctrinated to think so small-minded that we're only part of a little bit of the planet. America. Have no problem with that as far as association, culture, nationality. But we're not related at all as melanated people, black people, even if you don't call it African. We're melanated. How do you get away from that? And also, just because somebody came from Jamaica, like my father did, and married my mother and had me in America, I gotta now turn my back on all my Jamaican brothers and sisters and relatives, and I gotta turn my back on those who came from Africa because somebody else doesn't know the exact positioning of where they came from. And even if you were always in America before the Native Americans who are on reservations now, aren't we related? Can you deny that maybe 1 or 2 or 3 million years ago we might have been connected? How foolish, because you play right into the hands of the one who wants to destroy you, whose existence is diminishing on this planet, and they want to hold on to power. So they dangle in your face the promise of reparations, when in actuality, our unity is the most powerful reparation we could ever give ourselves. See? They gave the Japanese. They gave the small hats. You know who they are. They're fighting against Iran right now. They get a whole lot of money. But you love your government so much, but they won't give a dime to you. Huh? You look in the government, and so many of the senators and congressmen have dual citizenship where they're part of the small hats. Do you think they're going to give anything to you? They care less about you. What makes them fear or puts fear in their mind is global unity. See, I'm not throwing off on anybody because I know the game. I know the game of the enemy. And he wants us fighting against each other, and he's going to try to make his move here in the motherland to get the resources while he dangles the promise of reparations to those in America so they can catch an attitude and say, well, them Caribbean people coming over here, they don't deserve it. And them Africans coming over here, they don't deserve it. And they put things on social media to steer your mind. They'll get a few people to talk against you. See, here's the video where they say they don't like us. Look, I had a good time today. I hung out with some friends, did some shopping, hung out up in the village, hanging out with my buddies. Man, the love that I get. But they'll tell you something different in their controlled media, their counterintelligence program of social media, where you can do all the foolishness and the sexual stuff and the cussing each other out and the materialism and trying to have the status in your head. But no, we can't use it to unify. Did I say a hateful word in this video so far? I don't think so. What's wrong with unity? See, you've been inoculated with the same fear that your enemy has of our total unity. So you fight against that. You're like that shot, that antivirus shot that's shot into a person's arm to kill off a virus. They've turned you into that. So they will get people who look like you. What's his last name? Sanders? It's not, you know, the guy who runs that group that I spoke about a few days ago. I don't want to get in trouble. Y'all beat up on me so much, I was laughing. But you get a guy, look, can you imagine the government? I'm not saying it actually happened, but possibly got this man who has a charismatic way of speaking, where he was known for talking about and advocating pimping. So he's already going for the cash. He's already going for the notoriety. Is it hard to think that maybe he was approached by somebody? You have a way of speaking. You're charismatic. Work for us. We'll have you famous and making lots of money, but we need you to lead your people in this group so that we can separate. You think that he loves you like that? He would sell you out, and he's influenced you all the while laughing to the bank. Think about it. These people we see on social media are engineered, and they control what goes out there. Your mind is bombarded. It's hard. You wake up in the morning, you grab your phone, you look on your phone, you see what's there, you're influenced. They won't allow anybody to get out there who influences us to unify, especially unifying with those who live in a land where we have all of the resources. See my grocery store back there? I can go back there and eat just about anything I want. I don't have to pay for it at all. The lack of stress. I mean, I'm retired and everything, and I feel like I'm 9 years old. I wake up and I want to get something to eat. I don't know what I want to do today. I want to have fun. That's where you're supposed to be. The American system that drains you and makes you tired and makes you work 2 jobs. You got time to be hateful on your Caribbean brother, your African brother, when the system is killing you and sucking from you. You advocate for that? You pay off your house, you still got taxes. You pay off your car, you still got repairs and registration and all of this stuff you have to keep up with. I got to keep up with. But if I get some reparations, keep it. Our unity is our reparation. But those who pull the strings from behind the curtain through social media to your subconscious mind has you doing their work because they don't want us unified. How sad. Will we ever make it? I don't know. But I know one thing. I'm not saying this against anybody, but I am going to enjoy my life. You got to open your mind and look at how you've been manipulated in a system that's killing all Americans. And I mean, sucking them dry, where you don't have a life, but you're fighting so hard for something imaginary that somebody owes you. America's going to do most of those who look like me. They're dirty. They've been doing it like that. They're going to continue if we wake up and unify globally. There's corruption here. There are people who are leaders here who seek the status of those in Europe and those in America. They're corrupt leaders here. I'm talking about grassroots, the people. Not throwing off on somebody and offsetting the propaganda that they put on us both ways. You know how many from out here in the motherland can't wait to get to America because they paint America as the promised land? Really, is it? I'm not going to say anything bad about it, but you know what it is. And they paint the motherland as this terrible place when I couldn't believe it. I'm like, wait a second. I can live like this here? What? I couldn't wait to get on up out of that system. I have nothing against the people and my brothers and my sisters. Even if I didn't have lineage particularly here, I would still want to come. I'm not going to put my business out there, but you know what? It's a whole lot better. Trust and believe. Am I throwing off on people? No. There are people who have made videos about me. Oh, good evening, family. He's going to find out. He's going to come back running. But 2 years before that, he was asking me, how can I get out of here? I want to come to Africa where you are. People's minds are screwed up. This social media psych op has us messed up. How many of you all even watch TV anymore? Not that it's not the same thing, but I don't know. I'm not waiting for that bus anymore of unity with everybody. I'm already unified with a core group of people that I know are with it. We have the ego being manipulated. We want to be seen. We want to be heard. We want to be the one at the podium speaking the truth of what we think, and it's just ego. You all know when I came online in February of 2001, it's going on 26 years now. I used to just draw pictures. That's it. I started writing. That's it. YouTube came along for a couple years. I didn't even get on it. And once my interviews started coming in a lot, people were like, okay, get on there. I can take it or leave it. I'm an artist. The current just pulled me this way. But no, I have no time for the arguing, the bickering. I have too much to aspire to. I have too much to look forward to. My days are really, really sweet and satisfying. From the moment I wake up until the time that I go to sleep. And it's just joyous. And I don't have any time. Especially with people that after a while, they'll wake up and realize if they do, But I'm not put here to try to convince anybody of anything. I can just be an example. If you think I'm doing things wrong or you think, it's not a facade, I'm really living this. I couldn't live this way until I got out of the States. Honestly, I'm not a rich man. I feel that way now. Because I can wake up and decide, what am I going to do today? Maybe I want to go to bed for the next 2 hours and 3 hours. Maybe I don't want to come out the house for a week. I don't know. But the rat race, running the treadmill, you pay your bills and you look around, they're back there again, and things are the inflation and the diminishing dollar and the rising debt and the crime and the drugs. Oh, man. Nah. I got birds that come to the window on the other side of the house every day at a certain time, and they come and fly in front of the window, and I make sure that I'm there to greet them. That's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful exchange, nature. I got snails in my backyard that every few days they come up by the door, and they just sit by my back door under my carport, and they just sit there, and I talk to them, right? I'm not crazy, right? Things happen with nature, and you're in tune with yourself and you're away from the man-made engineered system that's there to suck your life force down, and you feel life coming back into you. It's a beautiful thing. Old thoughts, memories, things from the past come back to me faster because I don't have this thing on me. And I've banished all of the negativity away from me in the form of fake friends and fake comrades, and they're gone and never coming back. I can be me. I have myself to myself, and I don't hate anybody. I wish all of you the best. Even if our philosophies are different, all I'm saying There's nothing wrong with unity. And if you think I'm the enemy, what about the common enemy that we have? Have you forgotten about him? Because he doesn't want to see us get together. But you're going to learn that. Hopefully you do. If you don't, it'll be too late for many of you who think you're an island. Because that one who's dangling the reparations in your face, he ain't giving it to you. And the day they do, if they do, that money gonna crash within days. Anyway, I want to do my show with Brother Neil Frazier in a little while. I just want to come up here and just kind of ramble. I spoke in a coded way, so maybe it'll go over your head. Maybe you'll understand what I'm trying to say. What is wrong with unity? When did unity become a curse or something negative? I don't know. We some sick people if we think we don't need each other on a global level, no matter who you are. Anyway, much love to you all. On to the next one. LanceScurv out. Peace.